Happy wedding day, Millie's dress above. Question of the day, pizza or burger? Fries included with both off. Enjoy this chapter. Don't forget to vote and comment. 6 weeks. Sometimes 6 weeks feels like a lifetime. Maybe if you have a vacation booked or you're waiting for school to finish for the holidays. But sometimes it can go so quick you start questioning your own sense of reality. One minute I was standing in the hallway watching Costantino walk away from me, and the next I was standing in a hotel room in a wedding dress. I spent the last 6 weeks packing up my life in New York and preparing my company for my move halfway across the world. I didn't even get to go to Greece to celebrate my wedding with my parents and aunt and uncle. I was stuck in New York finalizing all my own arrangements. I was only a few minutes away from leaving the hotel to head to the church where we were getting married. I wasn't very religious, but since the Accardi family were hosting the wedding in Sicily, most of this was done under their arrangements. Hence why we were getting married in a church and not having an outdoor ceremony like I always wanted. I always dreamed of getting married on a beach with my closest people around me, but girls can't dream in this life. I barely had a say in any of the wedding arrangements, not that I even tried to give my opinion. The only thing I controlled was my wedding dress. Oh, and I got to choose who was walking me down the aisle. A knock on the door forced me to avert my gaze from the reflection of my wedding dress in the mirror. Ready, Mildred. I turned to the door of the bedroom in the suite to see Damien and Julia standing there. They were dressed in their three-piece designer suits with a flower pinned to their lapels. The pair of them took a long moment to absorb the view of me in my dress and my veil. Don't look at me like that. You promised you wouldn't let me cry. Sorry, Maleficent. Julius forced a smile onto his face, although he did a poor job of hiding his feelings. They were hurting just as much as I was. This was never the marriage we imagined when we set out to find me a husband all those months ago. They thought they'd be able to protect me from this, but they couldn't. Julius lingered by the door when Damien started making his way over to me. His smile was a little more genuine, but still, I could see the sadness in his eyes. I got you something. A present? I grinned. You know I love presents. My cousin laughed, nodding his head as he reached into his pocket. I know. He took out a small black box, coming to a stop next to me. He opened the ring box to reveal the most beautiful silver ring inside. The son of a bitch couldn't be bothered to get you a real ring, so I did the honors. He took my hand, easily slipping off the fake ring Costantino had given me on our engagement. Damien tossed the ring aside before taking the new one out of the box. He slid it on my ring finger, bringing my hand up to press a delicate kiss to the back of my hand. Now at least whenever you see the ring you won't think about him. You'll remember me instead. It wasn't a simple solitaire diamond like the one Costa gave me. It had more flair and personality with intricate diamonds placed in a beautiful design. It was exactly the kind of ring I would have wanted. I also didn't trust myself to stop crying if I started. The last 6 weeks had been full of tears, and Julius and Damien were often there to comfort me through them. But today wasn't the time to cry. I admired the ring on my finger before turning to look at my cousin. His eyes were glassy and tinged red, which sent a painful pang through my heart. I'm sorry we couldn't stop it, Mildred. It's not your fault, it's neither of your faults. I shifted my eyes over to my brother as he approached us, his own emotions threatening to break through. I'll be okay, you know me, I don't give up easily. I'll fight anything they throw at me. You shouldn't have to. This should be the happiest day of your life. You deserve the most beautiful wedding, not this. Julius shook his head, clearly choosing to let anger become the more dominant emotion. It's okay, Julius. I took his hand in mine, giving it a gentle squeeze. We don't even know when we'll see you again. Damien's voice broke and the tears fell from his eyes. That was enough to fill my eyes to the brim, but I refused to let the tears fall. Not today, not yet anyway. I'll come back soon. I don't think any of us believed those 3 words I whispered so hoarsely. The truth was Damien was right. We had no idea what was going to happen next. We'd had no contact with the Accardi family since the day of the engagement party. We didn't know what my living arrangements would be or what Costa's plans were after the wedding day. I was going into it blind, and for the first time in my life, I was facing something without my brother and my cousin right by my side. This something just so happened to be the most terrifying journey I'd ever have to face. I'm scared. I admitted it out loud for the first time since all of this started. I was scared to go through the wedding ceremony and the dreaded kiss. I was scared to be left alone with Costantino. I was scared to face his family day in and day out on my own without being able to see my own. I was scared of what might happen to my publishing company after leaving New York to move to Sicily permanently. I was scared of what might happen to me and my mental health. I was scared I was going to lose who I was in this marriage. You know, you can call us anytime, Mildew. We're always here for you. Julius squeezed my hand. We'll come and help you with anything, or you can come back home if you want to visit. Just call and we'll send a jet for you. You won't even need to ask your husband. Damien smiled, fiddling with the ring on my other hand. I'll come back, but only if we can go for ice cream. Ice cream dates with Damien would always be my favorite memory. Only if you share yours with me, Millipede, you always get the better flavor. It's true, Damien always prefers whichever flavor I pick. Okay, deal, but never ever call me that again, it's gross. I gave him a tearful smile before pulling them both in for a hug. The hug lasted a few seconds while we all savored the last moments we'd have together before I became an Accardi for the rest of my life. Being in their arms was the calm before the storm. It's time to go now. Julius murmured, pressing a kiss to my temple before pulling away. Okay. I turned to face my reflection once more in the mirror, taking a deep breath. I checked my makeup and my hair for the final time. I chose a messy bun with curly strands falling loose from it. I kept my makeup glowy, radiant, and simple. Since I was about to have my first kiss, and in front of hundreds of people, I stuck with matte lipstick instead of a gloss. I seriously doubt Costa would let the kiss last very long at all, but at least I wouldn't leave a pink, glittery mess on his lips afterwards. I did that for me, not him. How embarrassing would it be if he wiped his mouth after taking my first kiss? I fixed my veil and then filled my little clutch while giving myself an internal pep talk. Regardless of how bad it's gone, I was still in my boss bitch era. That meant I had to act like one, even if I was crying like a weak bitch inside. With one final look, I left the room with my brother and my cousin, heading down to the lobby where our car was waiting. Julius sat up front while Damien sat in the back with me. It was a classic vintage car from the 1930s. That meant there wasn't much space for any of us. So I got to spend the entire ride to the church listening to Damien complain about my dress. We actually argued all the way to the church. It might sound strange, but it brought me a lot of comfort. Instead of panicking about my upcoming wedding ceremony and my first kiss with my arch nemesis, I was busy arguing with my cousin. The only time we stopped was to take some photos outside with our family before they all headed into the church to take their seats. I gave my clutch to my mother to take care of during the ceremony after Damien refused. He said it didn't go with his suit. Once everyone left, Damien started complaining about my dress all over again. Okay, that's enough. I'm about to walk into the church. I waved him off, trying to focus on my breathing as we made our way up the steps. And look who's holding your stupid dress for you. My cousin grumbled, struggling to keep the front of my dress up so I could walk up the steps of the church. There were an unnecessary amount of steps leading to the old Sicilian church. It didn't help that the sun was shining right down on us either. My mood was going from terrible to I'm ready to throw myself down these steps, and Damien was only making it worse. It's not stupid, it's expensive, and you're not even holding it properly. If I step on it even once, Damien, I don't care what country I'm in, I'm coming for you. Yeah. You're forgetting all these years I've been the one doing your threatening for you. Who are you going to get to threaten me now? Bitch, I can do it myself, I don't need. And it was a chaotic scene, but nothing less than I'd expect from the three of us. We've never been good at doing things properly. Says the man who is still calling his sister Maleficent at the age of 30. I scoffed, which came out more like a wheeze as I finally reached the top of the stairs outside the doors. At least I don't have an irrational fear of spiders. And he thinks now is a good time to bring this up? Irrational. Have you seen them? They're enough to make me die. I shook my head in disgust, straightening the bottom of dress since Damien wasn't fulfilling his cousin of honor duties very well. Once that was done, I fixed my hair and my jewelry, making sure it was all straight. The only thing left to check was my makeup. Am I sweating? I turned to my cousin, who was busy focusing on his own appearance. Seriously, you'd think appointing your bi cousin as cousin of honor would be a good move, but no. Damien? What? He snapped while he was still busy looking at his reflection in his blank phone screen. He was trying to fix his hair as if it had been ruined by helping me. I'm going in there in less than 30 seconds to marry the love of my life and then kiss him in front of both our families and a bunch of strangers. So answer the damn question. Am I sweating? Yeah, the foundation on your upper lip has melted off. You look a mess. What? I gasped, snatching his phone off him to look at my own reflection. Hey, relax, you look fine, Mildred, Julius laughed. He was definitely used to my dramas with Damien by now. Still, I made sure my makeup was perfect. And it was, of course it was, I never look like a hot mess. Well, most of the time I don't. He's right, Mildew. You look beautiful. Costa is one lucky son of a bitch for getting to kiss you soon. Damien smiled, reaching out to twirl a loose piece of my hair around his finger. I chose to ignore his purposeful mention of the dreaded kiss. Are you two ever going to call me Millie? I'm about to become a married woman. I'm a mature boss bitch now. I was deadly serious, but the two of them burst out laughing. They were still laughing as they got into position, linking their arms through mine to walk me down the aisle. We'll be calling you anything but Millie even when you're a senior citizen boss bitch, Mildred. Damien. I gasped, turning to look at my cousin with wide eyes. You really think I'll still be a boss bitch when I'm a senior citizen? I think that's the nicest thing he's ever said to me. The two of them stared at me with blank expressions before they suddenly burst out laughing all over again. This time I couldn't help the giggle that tumbled out of my mouth just as the doors to the church were opened. Oh shit. Damien quickly choked down his laughter when we came under the watchful gazes of hundreds of people. Way to make an entrance. The chorus of violins was our cue to start walking, so I tightened my grip on my bouquet with both of my arms still linked with theirs. I love you. Julius whispered over the music just as we were about to take our first step. I love you too, both of you. We started our walk together down the aisle, the two of them supporting me on this journey like they had my entire life. They'd been with me through everything, every school playground tiff, every high school drama, every episode or altercation within our family. They were with me as I grew from a little girl all the way to a 25-year-old woman. Nothing could ever replace Damien and Julius. Our love was so deep, so strong and true, but now it was my time to leave them. So as I neared the altar, I finally allowed my gaze to settle on my future husband. Costantino stood tall on the altar, his emotionless green eyes watching me walk down the aisle to my favorite song, even if it was an orchestral version with no lyrics. We passed our extended family as we neared the front of the church. The Greek family were sat on the left and the Sicilians on the right. Costa's family were all sitting down with the exception of Tristano and Rocco, who were standing at the altar with their brother. My parents were standing up when we finally reached the 3 steps that would lead me to my fate. I turned to face Damien and Julius, willing myself to keep a hold of the emotions threatening to burst. Every part of my soul was screaming at me to run from the church before this could happen. I was aching to run, to go with my brother and my cousin. The music probably wasn't a good choice either when the memories made my eyes well with tears knowing these would be my final moments as a Darmos. I knew exactly what that meant. Once I become an Accardi, my loyalty would have to favor heavily towards the Sicilians. My entire identity was about to change, my entire family structure, life, and future. Don't cry, Millie. You're my little boss, bitch. Damien was tense as he pulled me in for a hug. Boss bitches don't cry. He whispered the parting words to me before pressing a tender kiss to my cheek. Then I turned to face my brother who was busy glaring at Costantino. Julius. My touch on his arm forced his gaze back towards me. My brother pulled me in for a hug, but unlike Damien, he didn't let go very quickly. I remained in his arms for as long as he wanted, savoring the comfort of being with him for a few more moments. I'm so proud of you, Millie. Never forget that. I didn't trust myself to speak, so I only nodded as he slowly released me from his hold. I gave them both a tearful smile, holding back the tears from falling down my cheeks. When I turned to face my parents, much like the last 9 weeks, I could barely look my father in the eye. I hugged my mother and wished her well without hesitation, but the same couldn't be said when it came to my father. I didn't want to hug him. In fact, I didn't even want to see him. But I'd already made enough of a statement to the rest of the guests and the Accardi family when I walked in with Julius and Damien instead of my father. For the sake of getting on with the ceremony, I gave him a fleeting hug before handing my bouquet to Damien. In my peripheral vision, I saw Tristano and Rocco bid their brother good luck before heading to their seats on the front row. With a deep breath, I stepped up to the altar, coming face to face with Costantino. The priest was alongside us, ready to start the ceremony with a peppy smile on his face. Costa's murky green eyes were cold and void of any feeling. He looked at me as if I wasn't even there. He was behaving like this was all one big trivial matter that would be over in minutes. Meanwhile, my heart was pounding and my palms were sweating like crazy. I was on the verge of a panic attack in front of both our families and hundreds of guests. The priest started with a brief introduction which I barely paid any attention to. How could I when I was doing my best to avoid looking directly at the man right across from me? I spent time admiring his luxury black suit, his tie, the flower pinned to his lapel. He was wearing a Patek Philippe watch and some rings on his fingers to match. I even had time to take in every single detail of his pristinely polished Italian leather shoes. I did everything I possibly could to not look him in the eye, or to look at his pink, plump lips that would soon be touching mine. That was until he randomly said my name, forcing me to look him dead in the eye. He gave me a "what the hell is the matter with you?" look while the priest awkwardly cleared his throat. "Please take each other's hands." He repeated, hopefully for just the second time, although I'm sure by Costa's annoyance he must have said it more than twice. That was the first time I realized Costa had been holding his hands out towards me expectantly. I, being the awkward boss bitch that I am, nervously wiped my hands on my dress first. I don't think I've ever sunk so low. Usually I'm confident and bold, but the Acardis had already turned me into a sweaty, quivering mess. My hands were visibly shaking as I took Costa's. His grip was gentle but still firm, forcing my hands to stop shaking so much. The priest continued on with some formalities like asking if anyone objected to the wedding. I was desperately hoping some non-existent long-lost lover of mine would turn up and beg me not to marry Costantino. But alas, I'm a pathetic 25-year-old virgin who's never even had her first kiss. Now my entire family were about to witness me kiss Costa with absolutely no training. Damien did go over some tips, and he even sent me a very explicit video from an unmentionable site showing two women kissing naked. I have no idea what he thought I would gain out of that. It did nothing to prepare me for the kiss that would surely come since no one had interjected to stop the wedding. I even hoped one of Costa's many lovers would turn up. I wouldn't have even minded if she called me a whore while begging him not to go ahead with the sham of a marriage. But we were just met with a deafening silence. Costantino and Millicent, have you both come here to enter into marriage without coercion, freely and wholeheartedly? Absolutely not, I have. We both muttered at the same time in an identical flat tone. It was a ridiculous question, even if it was a formality in this church. I'm sure I even saw Costa glance over at his father, one of the main organizers of this alliance. Are you prepared, as you follow the path of marriage, to love and honor each other for as long as you both shall live? This time there was the briefest of pauses before we both agreed. Then the priest continued with the main nuptials of the wedding. Do you, Costantino Salvator Accardi, take Millicent Ria Darmos to be your lawfully wedded wife, to have and to hold, in sickness and in health, in good times and not so good times, for richer or poorer, keeping yourself unto her for as long as you both shall live? Acosta remained as cold, calm, and collected as ever. He didn't even flinch, looking me directly in the eye as he responded, I do. Now it was my turn. All over again my heart began pounding, and all I could hear was my own pulse. I couldn't break my eyes away from Costa's green ones no matter how hard I tried. And do you, Millicent Ria Darmos, take Costantino Salvator Accardi to be your lawfully wedded husband? To have and to hold, in sickness and in health, in good times and not so good times, for richer or poorer, keeping yourself unto him for as long as you both shall live. With 2 words I sealed my fate. Staring him dead in the eye, I channeled as much confidence as I could, keeping my voice hard and firm. I do. Our stare down continued for another few seconds before the priest, who was utterly oblivious to the tension between us, called for the ring bearers. Tristano and Damien both came over to hand the ring boxes to us. Once they took their seats again, we continued. Costantino, you may place the ring you've chosen on Millicent's hand. The priest nodded towards me with a bright smile while my about-to-be husband gave him that default blank stare. Then he opened the box to take out a simple silver wedding band. He looked bored as hell, as if he was doing something mundane like making a cup of coffee. Actually, scratch that, I don't think he makes his own coffee. I gave him my hand, finding satisfaction in the way he did a double take when he saw Damien's ring on my finger instead of his crappy fake one. His eyes met mine for a brief second before he slid the wedding band on my finger. Excellent. And Millicent, you may place the ring you've chosen on Costantino's hand. Unlike him, I actually put some thought into the ring I chose. It was a thick silver band with the Accardi family symbol on the top. Inside, I had the date of our wedding engraved. I don't know why, I guess I just wanted the experience of doing one thing right. I'd never get the chance to buy another wedding ring, and it wasn't in my nature to give someone a bad gift. Also, unlike him, I didn't use a gentle touch when I gripped his hand tight in mine to shove the ring on his finger. Once the rings were exchanged, there was only one thing left. Costa held my stare, his plump lips twitching ever so slightly when I definitely got caught staring at them. Was he not nervous? Not even a little. He was about to kiss a woman he hated in front of so many people. I can't be the only one ready to fake a heart attack just to get out of the kiss. No matter how hard I tried to keep a calm facade up, he knew exactly how I felt. Let's not forget he was still holding my hands. He could feel how clammy and shaky they were. I now pronounce you husband and wife. My heart felt like it stopped in those few seconds until the priest spoke again to tell us to kiss. Congratulations. It's just a quickie kiss and we're done. Just a quick wait, what? My head snapped towards the priest, my lips parting in shock. Costa nodded at the priest as if there was some kind of agreement between them. Meanwhile, I stood there utterly dumbfounded when he walked away from us. No kiss after all that. Costantino let go of my hands, that same smirk still playing on his lips as he headed down the steps of the altar. This bitch actually left me standing at the altar alone. I narrowed my eyes at his back, watching him make his way down the aisle with his brothers and the twins quickly getting up to follow him. The rest of the Accardi family then filed out on cue, as if this whole thing was planned. Instead of Costa walking me down the aisle as newlyweds, he left with the rest of his stupid family. Millie, Damien tentatively came over to the bottom of the steps of the altar. I'm going to kill him. I forget being scared. I was ready to murder Costa and bury his body in his backyard, or just leave him bleeding out in his bathtub. See, I understand exactly why you feel that way, but maybe now isn't the time to get all murdery. He left me standing at the fucking altar. I hissed at my cousin, lifting the bottom of my dress so that I could step down off the altar. He knew I would get stuck at the back, so he made a quick getaway. That son of a bitch is dying today, I promise. Well, at least he married you first and didn't stand you up completely. Julius came up beside us with a sheepish grin. He was clearly hoping to calm my anger so I didn't embarrass him in front of all our extended family, friends, and allies. That's not a good thing. I scoffed, snatching my purse from my mother. I would have preferred to be stood up. The three of us made our way out of the church, albeit very slowly, since we were now so far at the back of the queue. I've never been to a wedding where the bride exits in the middle of all the guests. After a few minutes, we finally made it outside to the Rolls-Royce that was supposed to be our leaving car. Costantino was standing there laughing with his cousins as if he hadn't just purposely sabotaged our wedding. So he's so dying tonight, a slow and painful death. You took your time, ready? He smiled innocently, opening the back door of the Rolls-Royce for me like a gentleman. This man was anything but a gentleman. Listen to me, you smug little, save it for when you're alone. Damien cut me off with a stern tone, nudging me towards the open door of the car. But see you at the reception, Maleficent. He whispered into my ear, pressing a kiss to my cheek before heading off with my brother. This bitch just left me with my husband arch nemesis. Please, God, why are men so stupid? Come on, I don't have all day. Costa sighed impatiently, gesturing for me to get in the car. But we haven't taken any pictures yet. Why is everyone leaving? I looked around helplessly as all our family and guests left the surrounding area of the church. I didn't help plan the wedding day for many reasons, but the main one was that the Accardi family insisted on hosting it in Sicily and therefore planning it all. So far, there had been no order or plan to the proceedings. It was just pure chaos. I don't know and I don't care about photos, just get in the damn car. And how do you expect me to get in the car with this dress on? I motioned to the beautifully detailed skirt of my princess-style wedding dress. Take it off? That was the great suggestion of one of the twins who smirked. One of them was Aiden and one of them was Giovanni. I still didn't know which one was which, but that didn't matter. I hated them and they hated me. There was no need to know their names. Did I ask you? I snapped at the twin, turning around to look for someone to help me, preferably someone I didn't want to murder with my bare hands. Unfortunately, everyone else was already rushing to get out of the tight courtyard outside the church. There was only space for one car, and that was ours. It was a historic courtyard where the old church was situated in the outskirts of Palermo. And it was beautiful and picturesque, the perfect place for a photographer to take wedding pictures, but no one else cared. Aiden will get the front and I'll get the back, or if you prefer, we can shove you face first inside and Costa can sit up front. Giovanni grinned mischievously, taking a threatening step towards me. I immediately took a step back, not trusting a word they said. Don't forget, these teenagers belong to the family who sent me those screwed-up gifts while posing as Victor Kozlov. If either of you two idiots come near me, I swear I'll just go. La patana pazza porta con se un coltello ovunque vada. The crazy bitch carries a knife with her everywhere she goes. The twins burst out laughing at whatever Costa said to them in Italian. Little did he know, this crazy bitch has been teaching herself all the Italian swear words in preparation of her marriage. But I chose to be the mature one and ignore them. Instead, I was busy trying to get the train of my very white dress into the car without letting it get dirty. I definitely stumbled a few times in my heels and the heavy dress, but I think I played it cool. Well, I thought so until I felt Costa come up behind me, lifting the bottom of dress while taking my hand. Careful. At first, it might have seemed like he cared about my safety. But in actuality, he didn't want me to embarrass him by breaking my neck in front of the few lingering guests. Some of them stayed behind to take photos and selfies in their nice clothes. I guess I had the few with my family that we took before the ceremony. I don't know why I thought there would be a chance for both families to take some together here. It's not like it's even a normal wedding. But I guess I wanted something normal to look back at in years to come. Maybe I could show my children photos of our wedding, even if Costa and I hate each other. Once Costa got me in the car, he was busy trying to get the rest of my skirt inside. I could smell the strong scent of his luxury cologne as he leaned across me to fix my dress properly in the car. Then he was trying to make sure none of it was hanging outside the door so that he could close it. Don't you dare shut the door on my dress. Do you have to make this harder? I'm already helping you. He flashed me a glare, roughly shoving the last of my silk train into the car. I rolled my eyes when he slammed the door of the Rolls-Royce, muttering something to himself as he rounded the car. My husband, Gross, got in the car next to us, and the driver finally started the drive to the hall where the reception was being held. As you would expect, most of the drive was deadly silent. I was busy taking some selfies and random photos while Costa typed away on his phone. I took photos of the church before we left and the scenery while we drove. I took some random snaps of the inside of the car, my bouquet, and my clutch. I even took some photos of Costa, but he caught me straight away. That's how I ended up taking a selfie with a very annoyed Costantino Salvatore Accardi. Yes, I learned his full name during the ceremony for the first time, and yes, I'll be repeating it back to him a million times just to piss him off. Do you have to act like a fucking child? I was busy scrolling through the burst of selfies I took of the two of us in our wedding outfits while he complained. I'm 25 years old. I scoffed. I'm hardly a child. Plus, has he seen this ass? I really hope not. He shouldn't be looking at my ass. We're not friends like that. Now it was his turn to scoff, still typing on his phone. Please, your behavior during the ceremony says otherwise. My behavior? What's that supposed to mean? I was on my best behavior, and I can definitely be bratty when I want to be. He's lucky I even showed up. I could be sitting in a McDonald's right now eating a box of chicken nuggets while he explained to everyone why he has a runaway bride. Seriously, Millie, you weren't listening. You were constantly looking around and you were shaking like someone was about to execute you. Why is his accent so luxurious? I mean, being married to you is kind of a death sentence, no? See, you're a fucking child. He shook his head, turning back to his phone. I can't believe you think my behavior was the problem. Ever since we met, you've been the cause of every fight, and me? Really? He rose an eyebrow at me, putting his phone down on his lap mid-text. Yes, really. Do you not remember rudely asking me to get out of your way and then aggressively shoving me? I could have broken my neck. And on my birthday, too. Well, at least you would have done the world a favor, he snapped. When they locked you up for first-degree murder, my sickly sweet smile caused him to roll his eyes. He looked away from me, shifting his attention to the view outside. It wouldn't have been first degree, it would have been manslaughter at best. He quipped back in a matter-of-fact tone. You tried to kill me, it wasn't manslaughter. How stupid did he think the courts were? Of course they would see the truths. You know, that wasn't even my point. My point was you're the problem in this marriage, not me. You screwed with me when you didn't even know who I was. I'd never even officially met him when he decided to screw with my marriage talks with Viktor Kozlov. If it was a business concern you had, you could have just talked to him or even me. But no, you decided to send me disgusting gifts and then humiliate me in front of so many people. I was definitely letting my anger come to the surface and at the worst time possible. But just seeing him sitting there so smugly blaming me for all of this just ignited a fire inside me. It's your fault this marriage was even suggested. Then you disappeared instead of facing the consequences of your actions. That's not to mention the way you treated me at our engagement party. Did you really think I'd just forget about you pushing me up against the window and all your lovely threats? I might have been caught off guard by his fast reaction after I tried to stab him with my knife, but that didn't mean I forgot about it. You said I have to fix my attitude or what? I won't like the consequences. You said you'll punish me, right? Well, just try it, Malaka. Asshole, I was calling his bluff. I really would like to see the son of a bitch try and punish me. Are you done? We're here. Millie talks a lot. What did you guys think? I can't believe he left her at the altar.